Hi, I'm Rachel from the Well Build, and this is Scott Zubro from Benjamin Obdyke. And today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is rain screens or ventilation gaps behind your siding. For those of you that don't know, the Well Build is an education and consulting company dedicated to helping homeowners build healthier, high-performance homes. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Scott Zubrow, Market Development Manager for Benjamin Obdyke here on Long Island. Benjamin Obdyke focuses on two main things: drainage and drying in your wall assemblies.
So one of the very first concepts I learned about was the need for a rain screen. Let's just talk about what is a rain screen, what's a drainable house wrap. Just tell us everything.
Basically, what we're doing is adding an air gap behind your siding. What drives your choice of rain screen is highly dependent on what type of cladding you're putting on your home. There are a lot of siding manufacturers, and I think this is really important to drive home, is that before you decide to put a rain screen on your home, is that you find out with your manufacturer that they approve it.
So what is the number one benefit of using a rain screen?
Airflow. So drying out your wall assembly is one of the most important things that you can do for your home. Here on Long Island, we use a lot of wood siding. And the problem with wood siding is that when we squish everything together, flat against flat, the outside, the face of your siding gets dry, it looks great, it looks really pretty, while all that time it's wet on the inside, it never really has time to dry. And if you've ever seen really bad wood siding, it turns black, it can grow mold on it, and really can cause some issues.
How does water get behind your siding to begin with? Because I feel like a lot of people assume that that's the point of their siding, to keep water out of their walls.
So siding is your primary protection from water, but I don't know if you've ever heard the saying that water finds a way. Any default, any defect, any wrong flashing can infiltrate water into your wall cavity and cause problems. And it's not something that could happen overnight, but over years and years of trapping moisture, it can really cause rot and decay. And one of the biggest drivers is wind. Wind drives and pushes water into those areas, and nothing that happens all the time. It's not always going to be a problem, but we always want to build and design to try to
have the most durable home.
Exactly.
I've heard about this concept, and it's kind of hard to understand, but called solar drive. Can you talk more about that and how this sort of helps that issue?
Almost all the cladding that we use absorbs moisture, and water wants to stay in liquid form. It doesn't want to change into gas. So when the sun comes out after a nice heavy rain, the sun comes out and the water forces its way into your wall, through your wood siding, through your brick. And then if it doesn't have anywhere to escape, that's when you get rot and decay and damage.
No, that makes perfect sense. So I know that you guys make several different products. This is a drainable house wrap. This is more of a real rain screen. And then you even have something like this that provides an even bigger gap. Like, when would you use each of these products? And like, what's the benefit difference of using something like this versus something like this in terms of the drainage, in terms of the drying?
Drainable house wraps, when you install it on your wall and you put your cladding on top of it, these little drainage dots create a pathway for water to get out, which in some cases is the best that you're going to be able to do for your home. Okay. Not every home can have a rain screen on it. It's just the way it is.
Okay.
But at a minimum, a drainable house wrap is really the best thing that you can do.
Okay. So if you pressure wash your house, is this going to give it enough of a drainage path for the water to get down?
So I would say try not to pressure wash your house.
Okay.
One of the reasons why is that when they're washing your home, there's usually soap in there. Soap contains something called surfactants. Surfactants are what are in laundry detergent. That's why when you get a stain, it makes the molecules the ability to get really, really small. That's how you clean a stain on your shirt. They can also make the water molecules really, really small and allow them to infiltrate into your house.
I never knew that. Okay.
So I know it sounds like a great idea to power wash with soap and water to get everything clean. It's really not the best idea. But yes, when water gets behind your siding and you have either my peel and stick or my mechanically fastened drainable house wrap, it will drain the water out 2 to 3 times faster than most other house wraps in the market. The faster you get the water out of the wall cavity, that's what's most important. Not just that you can drain over time.
How fast
it's the speed that's most important.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I just want to talk about this for a second because the HydroGap SA is one of my favorite products of all time, because this is an incredible air barrier in addition to the drainage that we're talking about. So you essentially get a 3-in-1. You're getting a house wrap weather resistant barrier, you're getting an air barrier, and you're also getting the drainage in one. So for some people, this really is the best solution. And I think this is going to make a massive difference in the performance of the home, even if you're not getting a full rain screen.
When you put a rain screen on the outside of your house, you now get air changes per hour on the outside of your house too. And that's what helps dry everything.
So something else that I've heard recently that I thought was very interesting is that there's this term called drying potential, where water that's in your walls already, whether it's a window leak or something else, you always want to make sure that it can dry to, the assembly can dry to at least one side.
The theory is I don't want 2 vapor barriers on my wall assembly. So it's not just as easy as saying, oh, I'm going to put HydroGap on my wall. Everything needs to be able to work with itself. So you need to know what the entire wall assembly is.
All right, so let's talk about siding specific and which one of these options you would use. So if someone has a stucco application, what's the best product?
So Slicker Max is really great product for a stucco application. It's essentially a rain screen with the filter fabric attached to the top of it. Goes up on your wall like this, so the filter fabric's facing out. You put your wire lath on top of that, and then whatever mortar, whatever masonry product you're putting on here will not go through the filter fabric, and you keep a nice, clean air cavity behind your siding. One of the benefits using a rolled rain screen like our products as opposed to furring strips is when you put furring strips up on the wall, the air is only going to be able to channel up and down.
Okay.
When you do a rolled rain screen, you get 360 degrees of airflow. You increase the drying potential.
Okay, so what weather resistant barrier would you recommend behind this for a second one?
You could do a peel and stick membrane like Vapor Dry SA.
Okay.
You could do HydroGap if you wanted to.
Okay.
When I talk about WRBs, I almost always defer to peel and stick membranes. And I know that they are going to be a little bit more expensive than your mechanically fastened membrane, but there are benefits to using a peel and stick above and beyond, oh, I'm just spending...
Like the air barrier.
Exactly. It's the air barrier. If you're doing a cedar shingle house, we pass the test for nail sealability. So when the nail goes through there, the adhesive on the back seals around it.
What about if you have a fiber cement-based product? Which one of these do you recommend?
So again, that is going to be based on your manufacturer.
Okay.
If I had to suggest something, I would go with Aeronet. Aeronet is kind of our next generation of rain screens. When you put your siding on top of it, everything stays in a nice plane because these little feet prevent any compression at all. So I really like this product.
What about like a generic wood shingle? There's not necessarily a manufacturer to call. What product would you go with?
So I would go with the Aeronet product behind really almost any type of wood siding. I just feel like it's got really, really great drainage behind it. They all do. I just like the more compression resistant. When you're talking about wood, they're generally heavy boards. So when it's going up against the siding, I really like the Aeronet. Cedar shingles, Slicker Classic is really a great one. But really, you can use any of these behind there just with the Slicker. Even the Slicker Max can go behind wood siding.
I like that this has like the integrated bug screen.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, it seems like Benjamin Obdyke makes a product for every application. You guys have great customer service. If someone calls in, you can get some guidance from someone on the other line. So that pretty much wraps up our conversation on rain screens or drainable house wraps. Whether you're building a new home or retrofitting an old home, this is definitely something worth investing in. If not for the health of your home, it's going to save you money just on your siding in the long run. And I highly recommend it. So if Sunny doesn't have any more questions, I think we're going to close this out. Sunny? Nope, he's good. All right. Thank you, Scott.
Perfect. Thank you.